Okay, today we're going to talk a little bit about eggs and hormones. Here are some beautiful eggs from my girls. My goodness, we got 10 today. I mean, these are just beautiful. So, all different colors. Don't wash them, then you can keep them on the counter. But anyway, today we're talking about eggs. Not like not like why, not like why we should eat eggs, but like what actually goes into the eggs. Because I get asked all the time, like, are eggs healthy? Should we be eating them if we're in perimenopause or menopause? And then, like, does it matter if they're free range or isn't the egg I get from the grocery store the same I get from the farmer? So the answer is no. An egg is just not an egg, especially when we're talking about women's hormones. So what a chicken eats, that becomes what you eat. You are what you eat. And it matters more than people even realize. So let's start with the physiology. So, an egg is basically a nutrient delivery system. So, it's designed to support the growth, the brain development, hormones, and immune function for a baby chick. When you hatch chicks, in an incubator at home, you're told to leave them in the incubator to fluff up and then also to eat the rest of the dense nutrients in that shell, in that egg yolk. And they do. What that means, and this is why we like eggs so much, it's rich in cholesterol, which is how hormones start. All hormones start from cholesterol in the hormone cascade, and fat soluble vitamins it's rich in, choline, which is so important for brain health, amino acids and fatty acids. And this is exactly what women need, all of those things for our hormone production. But here's the key that some people are missing. The nutrient profile of an egg depends on what the chickens eat. So chickens are not naturally corn and soy animals. Like, they can have those things if they're around their environment, and they can have them as an adjunct, but they are not only supposed to eat that. It would be like if we only ate chicken nuggets all day long for every meal. That is not good. And in nature, chickens eat bugs and seeds and grass and worms and our kitchen scraps. Yesterday, I was going out to my car, and one of the chickens, one of our Americanos, had a giant frog like dangling and running around with it. It was so funny, and all the other ones were trying to chase. So, but here's the problem. When the chickens are fed mostly corn and soy, the eggs become different. And this is different from pasture raised foraging chickens. Now, also, we have to break that down further. A lot of these are GMO corn and soy, and then that's a mess. And then they're getting pesticides. So let's break this down. Corn and soy fed eggs versus free range eggs. Corn and soy fed eggs. So most conventional eggs come from chicken feeds that they're being fed GMO corn, GMO soy, and then seed oils by proxy, right? Because they're getting all of that. And to make it solid, sometimes they add seed oil in. So this actually leads to eggs that are higher in omega 6 fatty acids, lower in omega 3s, lower in fat soluble vitamins, and lower in antioxidant like carotenoids. And this is where there was a lot of drama with the Vital Farms pasture raised eggs. They were shown to contain higher levels of omega 6 fatty acids, linoleic acid, like about 22 to 23%, which is like similar to basically canola oil. So it was very interesting. And this is why I wanted to bring this up, because this has caused a lot of stir. So if we have this higher omega 6 intake, this is going to throw off the balance of omega 3 to omega 6. And because we have so many seed oils, it's just like in everything, we are getting out of balance and pro inflammatory. I remember giving a lecture on this like 10 years ago. And gosh, like knowing it was a problem there and talking about it, and it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse. Now we have the egg drama. So just remember, higher omega 6 throws off the balance of omega 3 fatty acids to omega 6 and causes more inflammation. And then inflammation disrupts our hormones. I said it before, you can't have disease without inflammation, right? Right. Remember that. So inflammation causes disease. It affects ovulation, progesterone production, our estrogen metabolism, insulin signaling, um, thyroid function, and it's a metabolic mess. So when we have free range or pasture eggs, they eat a more natural diet. Okay. So they're foraging all day. And yes, they have some feed there, but it's not going to be GMO. So our feed that we get, it's not GMO, doesn't have pesticides in it. It does have some corn in it though. So it's tough, right? Because they do need that extra feed. Because before I just thought free range, they could just like go and eat all day and they wouldn't need any extra food. And then I was told by a farmer that that's not true. So we do supplement ours a little bit, but they don't get a lot. because we have a lot of chickens and we don't go through that much feed. So when these chickens eat a more natural diet, their eggs are going to contain higher omega 3s, which is what we want. We need that omega 3s. They're going to have a better ratio of those omega to omega 3, more like God intended, more vitamin A, more vitamin D, and more vitamin E. And those are the fat soluble vitamins. More choline. I don't know, like my pregnant or fertile women out there, or if you remember, what did you crave during pregnancy? Eggs, because they're high in choline. The yolk is, and choline is so important for a developing brain and a brain as you age. So very interesting that yolk is great. And then it's going to have more antioxidants too. So the yolk is darker for a reason. It can reflect nutrient density. Also, though, the yolk, you can like scam this and give them, certain herbs and stuff to make it darker. And I think that is happening, which is super frustrating. But same as, they feed the salmon certain thing to make it artificially pink. This is happening. So this is where you need to know where you're getting your stuff from. The thing is, these nutrient dense fats are so important for women's hormones. So that is why we are talking about this. So let's connect this directly to hormones. Once again, hormones made from cholesterol. It's the top of the hormone cascade. If you don't have the right fats, your body can struggle to make stable hormones. This is why a lot of women that are maybe anorexic or bulimic or have really low body fat, they are skipping their cycles. They're not making proper hormones. They're not making their progesterone. Their body is stressed. This is also show up for not making proper hormones. You guys have heard me talk about the symptoms of hormones that are out of whack. It's the Lord gave us these symptoms to let us know that something is out of whack. So PMS, anxiety, poor sleep, irregular cycle, heavier painful periods, brain fog, and then the list goes on for perimenopause symptoms. This is not normal. We were not told that we would have horrible painful periods every month. We were just guaranteed pain in childbirth. So if you're having horrible periods, something is wrong, and find a friendly faith-based physician or her team to help you. So let's talk about choline. Eggs are one of the best sources for choline. And this also is essential for not only brain health, neurotransmitter balance, estrogen metabolism in the liver, and preventing fatty liver, which is just running rampant right now. So lower choline intake is sadly common for women because a lot of women are avoiding eggs or fat. And so many women are told to not eat eggs because their favorite social media person says so. So see where we have this problem. So just remember, estrogen, it's not just a reproductive hormone, it's brain protective. So many, and I'll dig into the research for this on another video, but estrogen is so important for brain function. So when we eat these inflammatory fats or low quality eggs, we're slowly increasing neuroinflammation and poor estrogen signaling and hormone vitality. And this is so frustrating because we think we're eating healthy and we're not. So food is not always neutral, even healthy food. Sadly, I feel like all these GMO crops and money and the government are just finding a way to ruin all the healthy food, right? So it's hard. So sadly, though, midlife, perimenopause, this is kind of where things come to a breaking point. So in perimenopause, remember, progesterone is dropping first, or estrogen becomes erratic, the brain becomes more sensitive to inflammation, and our women are feeling and saying to me, like, I didn't change anything, but my body feels different. This is because that margin, that resilience, that margin for error, it shrinks because we're less resilient because our hormones are a disaster. So this is why a lot of chronic disease shows up rampant in perimenopause. And then we apply this to diet. So poor quality fats or inflammatory foods, or, eating pizza late at night and gluten that didn't bother you at age 30, it really matters at age 40 and 50. And I also hear from women too that, oh, I just can't tolerate alcohol anymore the older I get. And this is why too, switching to pasture raised eggs that are actually, even better, just free range hens that from someone and what they're eating is one of the simplest upgrades that I would recommend. So this is like foundational support. What to look for when you're buying eggs. Words matter, but these labels are really confusing. Cage free doesn't mean pasture raised. Okay. So free range is a little better, but it's still pretty vague. So pasture raised is going to be the best if you're not getting it from someone you know in a local farm. Like unwashed eggs from the local butcher shop or from the farm stand, when you ask them what their practices are is going to be the best. So look for that pasture raised certification if you're buying them from a grocery store, you don't have a farmer, you don't have an egg dealer at your church or something like that. You want to get that deep orange yolk, local farmers like Pfleghaar. Also, just make sure that the chickens are getting out and eating like bugs and frogs and grass and chicken and table scraps, not just grain. My chickens actually love it when they have leftover brisket, like when we have brisket with like a lot of fat or, we're not eating it or it's like a couple days old and we don't want to eat it. The chickens love it. They like go to town. Like they are little carnivores. They're so funny. Like they love meat. I do not feed them chicken, by the way. That would be bad. Okay. So here's the thing though. So if you're like budget's a problem, I would prioritize eggs over other like health foods. Okay. Because we don't want to be getting a bunch of omega-6 and mess up that balance and tip that balance towards inflammation. So, maybe pick that as a priority. Like, I go to Aldi and I'll get like their blueberries and raspberries there. And then I spend my money on, everything for the chickens and giving them their little grub treats and stuff. But anyway, we've even considered figuring out a way, making like some worms out of dirt, so we can give them there or making our own maggots. Like how hard could that be, right? So any tips for me, leave them in the comments. But if we think about it, like I say, spend the money on, high quality eggs, but really like if you're spending $5 like for a dozen eggs from a farmer versus $4 at the store, I mean, it's going to be one of the best returns on your hormonal health. Once I said this isn't about perfection, just try to get better quality eggs. So we're having a higher omega-3 count, higher fat soluble vitamins, higher choline. And eggs are such a good source of protein. So they are so important. They're also such a good topper on hamburgers. But it's really funny. My husband started eating eggs on his hamburger, and I'm like, oh, okay. Do you want one this time? Because I was like kind of surprised, but I didn't realize he cooks it so the yolk like is totally solid. Because I like it when it like you cut into it and it like oozes all over the burger. So let me know if you're Team Jenny or Team Chip for the soft egg yolk over the burger. So just Team Jenny runny over the burger, like you cut in and it like. So anyway, once again, so what the chicken eats is a signaling for your body because it's passed through. And when we start feeding our hormones better information with better food and better eggs like these, look how pretty these are. We're gonna have our cycle stabilize, energy can improve, brain becomes clear, and symptoms can soften. Um, it may just seem like, oh, it's just food and putting in our body, but it is so important. We are what we eat. So just start asking better questions about the food. And once again, not about perfection. Like try 80-20, when you're going out to eat, bring your own butter and salt or do what you can. Tell them you're allergic to seed oils. But sometimes you are going to get a heavy dose of seed oils when you go out to eat. Then don't bring it home. Do the best you can and not bring it home. And I know it is so hard, but you're doing a great job. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this little talk with me, I need some help. I need help to get it out there. Okay. Especially because I'm talking like against like all the algorithms. Okay, so help me. How can you help me? Just comment, subscribe, share this. If you think it would help one person, share it, and I will do more. I will do more. You like it, I will do more. So I just want you all to be healthy and happy and check out my mini farm updates. I need to do them more often, but I appreciate you guys, Dr. Jen, and I am signing off. So look how pretty this is like. These are so pretty. They match my nails. All right, bye.